Hello and welcome. My name is Zaffar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo story. One of the worst floods has hit Pakistan. One third of the area of that country is under flood waters. More than 1,000 people have died, and millions have been affected. They're basically displaced. According to estimates, the country has lost 10 billion in damage to its infrastructure. Now, as floodwaters are receding, there are fears of food shortage and shortage of other essential commodities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has tweeted. He said that saddened to see the devastation caused by the floods in Pakistan and heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims. Pakistani Prime Minister has in turn tweeted, and also Pakistani Finance Minister has also made some comments. To discuss the situation, we're joined by an eminent panel today. From Pakistan, we're joined by Ahmad Pansota, who's a political analyst and a lawyer. We're also joined by Manju, former diplomat. Major General Dhruv Katoch also joins us. Welcome all to the show. If I can go to Ahmad Saab first, what is the flood situation in Pakistan right now? We believe it's one of the worst floods that's hit the country, and huge areas are under floodwaters.
You're right. At the moment, the situation in Pakistan is quite bad because the country is hit by the worst ever floods. And yes, its unprecedented scale has caused it a lot of loss and a lot of damage in Pakistan. And I'll be honest, even if a government was prepared for all of this, we were certainly not prepared for this scale and this magnitude that it has hit Pakistan. And it has hit different provinces in Pakistan, especially the province of Sindh, then parts of Punjab, and then KP as well. So KP was slightly more, I would say, prepared for that, but still it did hit there. But Sindh has been devastated, and I believe that the governments are trying their level best to take care of the situation. But if you see the situation on ground, it's I would say it's scary. I mean, I've had the opportunity of visiting a few places, especially in Punjab, in the south of Punjab. Things are not well. Especially people have lost all their animals, cattle, their houses, and now the next in line, the problem is that the food shortage is going to hit Pakistan very soon, especially these particular areas. So people within the
Exactly.
country are trying their best to take care of this. But yes, this is a scale. This is probably something that has hit Pakistan, which requires more than that. And I think international help and people from other countries. Uh, that's what's required at this stage.
Yes, there are fears of food shortage, and also we heard that statement from the powerful Pakistani army chief, where he also requested friendly countries to help. But is there any appetite in Pakistan for assistance from India? We heard contradictory statements. Your finance minister said that there could be shortage of foodstuff and vegetables can be imported from India, but the prime minister again tweeted, Prime Minister of Pakistan, saying that irritants need to be resolved, perhaps hinting at Kashmir.
Well, you see, as far as India and Pakistan are concerned, I mean, we are all aware of the history that is there between the two countries, but we are at a stage, especially when these floods are concerned, that we have to forget all of this. I mean,
Hmm.
God forbid, if something of that scale or magnitude happens in India, if my opinion was sought, I would certainly say that I would love to help a country which is our neighboring country. And there is nothing more important to me than obviously sort of extending that help. Similarly, in Pakistan, if there is any provision that can be created whereby help can be sought from India, and of course that help can be on the humanitarian basis, I think that's India's duty, and at the same time, that's Pakistan's compulsion to have sort of accept that. So I wouldn't make it very political, and I would say that the people of Pakistan, and I always say that whenever I'm appearing on an Indian channel, that people of Pakistan and similarly people of India, they love each other. I've represented my national side hockey. I've played in India, Patiala, everywhere. We've been appreciated. So it's I think more than that. Politics should be the last thing that we should even think about at this stage. And if there is any provision that can be created whereby help can be sent to Pakistan, I would certainly appreciate that. I'm not sure about my prime minister, but
Okay, all right. Uh, all right. Manju said we saw the tweet by Prime Minister Modi, but there seems to be some sort of a reluctance from the Indian side to really send assistance to Pakistan when it comes to other neighboring countries like Bangladesh, like Nepal, and other countries, India is the first to reach out. But here we are seeing that the Prime Minister did tweet, and that's it.
Uh, Let me just clarify one thing. Whenever such calamities take place in any country, it has been my experience that the host government, or wherever we are, they approach the ambassadors, or their ambassadors approach the local, the government in which, I mean, the Indian government, if they are posted, in which country they are posted, and they ask if their government wants help. They reach out and they ask for help. As far as I'm aware, in this particular sad situation, the Pakistan government has not made any request. And if a request had been made, I'm sure India would have received it positively. And also for the imports that they spoke of importing vegetables. The minister, Pakistani minister, spoke of importing vegetables from India. But again, things have to be a little normal for trade. That is a trade issue. When they say import from India, then that is about trade. And certainly there are impediments to having normal trade. And that, I think, needs rectification. The situation needs rectification before normal imports can resume from India. But as far as humanitarian assistance is concerned, I'm quite confident that if Pakistan were to request for help through their diplomatic channels, I'm sure India would give the requisite aid. And normally, it depends on the situation, from situation to situation. Some countries we offer food, some countries, depending on what they want, medicines, or they want monetary help, or they want, water, medicines, whatever it is, whatever help is asked for, and whatever we are able to meet out of that, India normally
Yes.
responds in every case.
Finance,
So I think this
the
is
Pakistani finance, the Pakistani finance minister specifically talked about vegetables and the imminent food shortage as floodwaters are
yes.
receding. But there is a Dhruv Katoch, there is a set protocol, as Manju Seth was saying. What, according to you, is the reason that Pakistan is not formally seeking assistance, help from India? Uh, we know the country is in a very bad condition right now. One third of the country is under flood water, so it's a pretty bad situation. And already, the economy of that country was crippling in those circumstances. What, according to you, is the main stumbling block?
Thank you, Zaffar. Zaffar, let's get a few things absolutely clear. Today, I think Pakistan is in the weakest wicket possible, uh, especially because of the weakening economy and the internal security situation. Now, on top of that, this flood has taken place, which I think has been the most severe flood in Pakistan's history till date. I've never seen a situation by which one third of the country actually comes under the water. And we in India, we have seen those horrific videos where whole houses have come crumbling down. Now, in such a situation, I think it is every country, of course, is duty bound to offer more help, as much help as they can. But it is also the duty of the country which is in trouble to ask for that help. Now, if India unilaterally offers aid and Pakistan refuses it, then it is a slap on the face of India. I don't think we can go down that path again. We've been through it many times. Now, our panelist from Pakistan, very correctly, he has said that this should not be political. I agree with him. It should not be political. But life is political, especially in Pakistan. Everything is political when it comes to India. So, if the present ruling dispensation actually seeks out through the embassy, as the ambassador has stated, seeking aid from India, I think the opposition party in Pakistan, especially Mr. Imran Khan, will get down onto Mr. Shehbaz Sharif like a ton of bricks. And if the situation was reversed, if Imran Khan was in power, then the same thing would happen. It is political. It is, you see, India is a tool which can be used by any political party in Pakistan to whip up emotions. So I don't think this is going to take place. But I'm absolutely sanguine. Should Pakistan ask for aid, it will be delivered within less than 24 hours. It can be straight away from the Punjab border at Atari across to Wagah. It'll be a matter of hours in which that aid can be delivered. But the
Exactly.
request has to come from Pakistan, and should it come, the people of India will respond correctly. Zafar.
Ahmed Saab, as Major General Dhruv Katoch was referring to, Pakistani internal politics that cannot be discounted. We know Imran Khan is going out in the town, doing rallies, and attracting huge masses of people. Obviously, if Shehbaz Sharif makes a move and opens up trade with India, he might face opposition. There is definitely politics involved, and at the same time, there is a great tragedy that has struck the country. So people have to make a choice: politics or help for the people of that country who are suffering at this moment.
To an extent, I would agree with that. You see, any move, I would say, in the context of trade, it can be a problematic situation because whosoever in either country, and I'll have to be very candid here. If you start a pro-Pakistani politics in India, even at this stage, apart from the humanitarian crisis, I'm sure it won't be taken with that much of it won't be welcome to reception, won't be given like that. And similarly, in Pakistan, a pro-Indian sentiment on a state level is not accepted, and these are ground realities that we've lived with for the past so many years, which is unfortunate, as I say, and which is not the correct situation, or it does not reveal the correct situation between the two, the people of the two countries. It's just the government versus government. But yes, as far as the aid is concerned, and my comment was only limited to the aid, I do understand what the panelists are saying, that there should be a formal request raised, but I believe that when the Prime Minister had tweeted, which I strongly welcome the Prime Minister of India's tweet, had there been one or two lines to the effect that we are also willing to extend all possible help in this situation, I'm very sure people from this area would not have refused that. So it's once again, owing to our political situation, it's the same battle that goes on, and I don't hold anyone responsible. I'm not saying it is Pakistan's
But
fault or India's fault, but yes, somebody has to
but
make the first move. And if I was in their place, as somebody, see, if I was in Narendra Modi's place, I would have said this country is hit by the severe floods and a national catastrophe. I would say that I am willing and I'm reaching out to help them, regardless of my political affiliations and regardless of how I'm taken in India. And of course, on the contrary, Pakistan should have accepted that, and Pakistan should also make a formal request if India can offer any sort of help. And I would also pose the same answer again, that let's say, what if Pakistan says that we formally want India to help, and the government of India refuses? Then it's a big slap on the face of the Pakistani government. So it's one of those situations where these countries are involved, but we have to rise above all of these situations, and in the end, it is the situation that needs to be dealt with.
But Ahmed Sab, isn't there a selective approach? As we understand, Pakistan is importing medicines from India, even in COVID times. So if one area can be looked into and it can be opened up for trade, why not other areas?
I'm in absolute agreement with what you're saying. I believe there should be an open trade between these two countries. Most of the people throughout the world, and ever since the last 800 or 900 years of history, if you take it up, people have fought battles. In the end, they've all resolved to these amicable situations. And I am somebody who's not for war. I'm somebody who's not for any sort of, I would say, altercation. And I totally agree with you. There should be a trade, and there are statistics which suggest that about 8 billion Pakistani rupees informal trade between India and Pakistan. So then there are such situations. So if trade can be opened, of course there has to be a unanimous agreement between both the countries. And I am very candid when I come to say that in Pakistan also and in India as well, we need to come out of this anti-Pakistan and anti-India politics. Like I said again and again, at the cost of reputation, that people of both these countries love each other. Whenever we've gone there, we've been welcomed like anything. Similarly, when Indians come to this side of the border, be it a cricket match or any other thing, people love them. So this narrative
Okay.
gradually needs to be eroded if you want to
Okay,
move ahead on the such matters.
basically, I wanted to ask Manju said you raised the point of cricket match. So cricket matches are taking place, of course, at neutral venues. There was one recently. There was huge interest in both the countries. When cricket can be played by the two countries, why should this enmity come in between when it's a question of a natural calamities of such a massive scale that's hit one of the countries?
I think, as mentioned, by Mr. Ahmad, that mindsets need to change. I think that is a very important element. Mindsets at political level, especially I think in Pakistan, need to change. And they need to stop supporting, giving support to terror and terror activities in India. I think that mindset has not changed. And till that happens, I think we will continue to be a bit reticent in normalizing ties completely. Indian government will not be that forthcoming as you do, as everyone is aware. PM had all tried to reach out to the previous. And he just showed that photograph right now. He had reached out to the former Prime Minister, Mr. Sharif, but somehow things just went downhill even after that. And so I think, despite these overtures, there hasn't been a great difference on the ground. And I think that has been, for various reasons, nobody wants to rectify it on either side. And I think India has been wanting to resume normal ties for a long time, and we have been making that effort. But I think it needs to be from both sides, equal effort, and not one step forward and one step backward. And we feel that Pakistan has not lived up to its commitments as far as stopping terror and giving support to terror in India and terror attacks, or allowing its territory to be used, for Indian to be attacked by for people to from on its territory attacking India. And the other thing which I find, I think, the area that we can collaborate is on trying together combat the climate change, the effects of climate change which are devastating. And that is one area. Besides aid, we can look at seeing how we can stop this climate from deteriorating, from the glaciers from melting, and see if we can bring about lifestyle changes and go back to the way we used to be living in harmony with nature, I think. And that might be another area where we can work together, all of South Asia, and especially even Pakistan and India, to stop the devastating effects of climate change which are visible this year. And all over the country, but especially in 1/3 of Pakistan, where it has been destroyed. I mean, it has come under water.
It comes back to the same point, Major Dhruv Katoch, that terror and talks cannot go together. Of course, these are very good thoughts that climate change should be combated together, and other issues can be dealt together. But it comes back to the same point that Pakistan has not lived up to the expectations, as Manju says. Terror and talks cannot go together, and that's the main reason that things are not moving forward.
But you see, I think it is much more than terror and talks. I think there is the basic difference is ideology. And as Pakistan keeps getting radicalized more and more, especially in their school curriculums, and I've been shocked to see some of what is written in the school textbooks, which have been published by Pakistani authors. It is not something which I'm making up. I mean, I get that literature from there. It is horrifying. And while Mr. Ahmad, I appreciate his sentiments, but unfortunately, Mr. Ahmad, sir, you are a very small part of that liberal community. It is not reflective of the larger Pakistani society. And that is where I'm afraid the problem lies, because it doesn't really matter what you do. Once radicalization has crept into a particular society and ideology rules, then the problems come in. Now, you can't, that change has to take place in the education syllabus from childhood, and then let it apply for about 15 to 20 years. We are looking at a very long-term solution. The second aspect,
but Major Dhruv Katoch, talking about the current situation.
On terrorism, you see, the thing is, let us say if India and Pakistan actually come on to having a no-war pact and actually getting on to peaceful relations, which is the ideal state, which must happen between neighbors. The question then arises is, within Pakistan, the people will tell the Pakistan military, we don't need you now. Now, if the Pakistan military will never allow that situation to remain. For them, hostility with India is the prime reason for their existence. So if that hostility between India and Pakistan goes away, then the very relevance of the Pakistan army is not there, and the people will demand a reduction in their power, in their interference in governance. Now, the Pakistan military will never allow that to happen. So they have become the custodians. And this has been stated by their own generals. They are the custodians not only of the Pakistan borders and of their security. The Pakistan army is the custodian of Pakistan's ideology. And that is where the
Right.
military mullah nexus comes in. So it is
Okay.
not
So
going to be an easy thing.
you raise the larger point, but Manju said, coming back to the issue of trade, we have uh, we have seen cross LOC trade in the past. That was more of a symbolic nature. There was this barter system, cross LOC bus service. Both have been stopped for years now altogether. So there is more symbolism than substance when it comes to such exchange between India and Pakistan.
Uh, again, I think again we come back to the basic thing of support for terror to stop, then we can have normal trade. And I think if we could have trade across the border, I think it would be really wonderful for both sides. And as mentioned by Mr. Ahmad, we do already have informal trade. But for formal trade to commence or recommence, I think both sides would need to sit and discuss every aspect of trade, of course, but also of our mutual relationship, a bilateral relationship. But that is not going to happen, and because people don't want it, I think, at the top. And as General Todt said, everything is political in Pakistan. So they will not look at whether trade will benefit the people. They will see will trade be beneficial for themselves, for the political class? Will it benefit them in any way? So I think it comes down to that. And Pakistan, the people who matter, do not want, I think, to have normal relations with India. People may want, but I think the army and others, and as General Katoch mentioned,
But
their raison d'etre is, India, and enmity
but
and keeping the animosity alive. Yes,
But
sorry.
but that is the major background, Manju said. But when a calamity hits in the face like this, floods in Pakistan, one third of the country is underwater. At that time, perhaps the leadership needs to rise from the stated positions and deal with the issue that is staring them in the face.
Absolutely, it absolutely needs to rise above it, and it would be in the interest of the people if that could happen. And India, I'm sure, would be, and Indian exporters would be very ready and willing to restart bilateral trade and especially for for food stuff, and food stuff and medicines. It would really begin and start if both sides sit together, and they have to have, and terror. The terror has to stop. We have terror incidents every day happening in
Am
Kashmir and at the border. That has to stop. It just has to stop.
Okay, Ahmed Sab, you heard the Indian perspective, but at this moment, Pakistan is grappling with a major calamity. So, what should be the priorities for Pakistan at this time? Of course, whatever help comes Pakistan's way, it would be less given the magnitude of the problem. Country's leadership has appealed other countries to come in and help. The army chief of that country has appealed the friendly countries. So, don't you think that this is the time, perhaps, uh, to set aside the background and the main differences and deal with the situation as it is, as of now, as of today? Okay, we seem to have lost the contact, but you can see from those pictures, uh, Pakistani army choppers really working to get the people out of those flood waters. Entire machinery uh, has been activated to move the people towards safety. But the magnitude of the problem is so high. There are millions who are stranded or who have been displaced. We're trying to go across to Ahmed Saab. If you can hear us, Ahmed Saab, now. Okay, we seem to have some problem with the network there. But Major General Dhruv Katoch, the same thing that uh, now that this thing has happened in Pakistan, of course, the help has come. But is it really important that Pakistan should request India? Aren't there any other ways that India could reach out to the people of Pakistan? Because again, we are making it as a condition for Pakistani government. Because when we talk about, it's the people who have got affected in these floods.
Zafar, frankly, Indian goods have been sold in Pakistan for many decades now. It is
Okay.
simply the routing. The routing doesn't go from India to Pakistan. It goes from India to Dubai, and from there it
Right.
comes to Pakistan. It
Right.
is that. So that same situation will continue. You
Okay.
see, and
But
it will be sorry for their boys.
Major Dhruv Katoch, hold on, because we got Ahmad Sir back in line.
Yes.
He has a bad network. Then he'll again go away. So let him speak first.
Okay. You see, what I wanted to say was that as far as agendas and how
Okay.
these things can be improved. So somewhere down the line, once again, and I very respectfully, I would say the General Saab is once again saying it is beyond terror, it is about radicalization and all of these things. This is something that I wanted to avoid discussing, because when you allow me to make a comment, and when I look the Prime Minister of India talking about terrorism and radicalization, it gives me a huge laughter. What happens in India and situations like that, this is what I wanted to avoid discussing, because today the focus was only how the flood affected areas can be discussed. But now that a comment has been made about the radicalization and about the terror and about what the situation is between the two countries, I think BJP or the RSS mentality should be the last people talking about all of this. I mean, like, this is something that I once again don't want to comment on. And coming back to the point, which is the flood affected areas, we need to find a common agenda. We need to find a common point, and it's about helping a country which is devastated at the moment by the floods. And once again, if somebody wants to help, be it India or any other neighboring country, it should extend that help. I mean, if you start discussing the ins and outs of Pakistan, and we want to give that help, but then this is wrong, that is wrong, this is what you did wrong. It doesn't work that way. Right now, it's just one point agenda. And apart from that, nobody is asking for that help. If this is what we have to hear in return,
Yes.
for a change, I never
Yes.
thought that I was with Arnab Goswami.
Eh,
I thought I'm on a decent talk show, and we're going to discuss a common agenda, not
Right.
anything else. But if it is
Right.
about discussing the
No,
internal politics of Pakistan
we are
again, then allow me to comment on that as well.
no, no, we are mainly discussing the floods and the trade situation.
Thank you very much.
Of course, India should have a large heart, but Pakistan should also not be short-sighted. It's not a big thing to just request the Indian government, and for
Agreed.
India also, it's not that big thing to help in many other ways. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif are due to travel to Uzbekistan in this month only for the SEO summit. We do expect that some sort of a ice breaking will take place, at least about these natural calamities, the floods that have hit Pakistan and caused a lot of destruction and devastation. There could be some way out where the two countries can agree to help the people who are in distress at the moment. Thanks to all our panelists for joining us. That's all we have in today's show. Thanks for joining.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.